Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Mark and I thank you so much for coming by today. This is a topic I've been wanting to discuss for some time, but honestly I never felt entirely comfortable discussing it. Until now. Why now? Well, because it's come up recently in my own career, but it also came up for a friend of mine who experienced someone asking them to do work for free. My friend, who's a young designer just starting out, is looking to build up her portfolio and gain some exposure. She was asked to help design artwork for a website, but the client said they couldn't pay her and promised awesome exposure. My friend was reluctant. She wanted the exposure, but she didn't want to work for free, so she contacted me first. And I was glad she did. She asked my opinion on the matter, which we discussed, and we laid out exactly what it would cost her to do the job. She had no idea that it would actually cost her money to do the work that she wouldn't be getting paid for. So she went back to her client, laid out all the factors of what it would take to do the job, and then presented the client with a quote of how much it would cost to do the job, $350. Apparently, the client was very surprised, but after seeing that my friend was prepared and serious, they then offered $300. That was the best they could do. And while I still think that's a low price, my friend was beyond thrilled, accepted the terms, and jumped into the project full on. See, creative people, both professional and casual, enjoy the ability to express themselves through music, dance, writing, art, and performance. Still, there are many non-creative people who have no interest or skill in the creative arts, so they rely on creatives to provide creative services for their needs, whether it's graphic design, photography, writing, or other. Providing these services, whether for a contract, a commission, a job, or even entertainment, can consume extensive time, expensive materials, and even forfeit other opportunities for the creative artist. This is why non-creatives are responsible for providing proper and fair compensation to the creatives for their work. Payment or compensation is not just for the work itself, but it's also for that extensive time, expensive materials, and probably more important than anything, the experience of the creative to be able to provide those services to the non-creative. Unfortunately, and too often, non-creatives do not value what is needed to provide those creative services and often try to get creatives to work for free. And while working for free may sound unacceptable, it's the harsh reality for those in the creative arts. But it doesn't mean we don't get to ask the age-old question, why? Why do non-creatives ask or expect creatives to work for free? Why would someone who needs a service assume they could get it for free or for a price lower than what's being asked or below fair market value? I mean, ask a landscaper to do your yard for free and see what they say. Or ask a mechanic that you'd like to pay half of what they're quoting you and watch what the mechanic says. See, there's no actual answer to why someone would think this way, but there are some types of non-creatives or clients we can identify. Some of those are 1. Clients who are cheap. It's no secret there are people out there who simply don't want to pay for things, plain and simple. These are people who often feel like they just shouldn't have to pay for things they want, and they press it, push it, and sometimes demand it until they get something for free. Number 2, clients with no money. In most cases, people are working without money, so they ask for work for free. This request for work usually comes with an apologetic tone, yet it's with the same expectation to receive free services. Number 3, clients with a cause. Whether it's for charity, a school or school event, or even a local or town or church project, the pitch always asks for free work in the form of a donation. Number 4, clients who are friends or family. Like clients with a cause, creative artists are often approached by friends or family to create and deliver work without being paid. After all, we're friends, right? Number 5, clients who see opportunity. Sometimes there are those people who see value in creative work that the artist cannot see for themselves. These are opportunists who will ask for free work and then turn around and use it, sell it, or barter it away for gain without ever compensating the artist. The problem in asking creatives for free or reduced fee work is that it completely undervalues the work they do and the time they spend doing it. Not only the work they do, but it also undermines the market they work in, setting the bar for compensation for all creatives and the expectation of all non-creatives that, well, because that artist could do the job for X amount, then all artists should be doing the job for that amount. And that is simply not correct. I should also add, it puts the creative person in an uncomfortable position of fumbling for a way to politely say, no, I don't do work for free. For me, I've had 3 requests this month for logo designs where clients were offering me exposure instead of payment. Another person asked if I'd illustrate their children's book, yet had no publishing contact and no way to advance payment in retaining my services. I'm sorry to admit, I just don't understand the thinking behind these requests for free work, as it's something that I would never do. But it's what forced me to adopt a no free work policy, except in very rare specific cases. Well, what kind of cases could there possibly be for giving away free work? Let's get into that part of this discussion and more right after this coffee break. I don't like to think about it, but early in my career, I was burned by clients who either didn't pay or promised exposure that never got me anything. I've given away a lot of work based on promises, knowing in my gut that it was a bad idea, only to watch clients make money from my efforts while I walked away empty-handed and frustrated. Again, it's why I adopted a no free work policy, and I haven't come away from it since, except, as I said, in very rare specific cases. But what kind of cases could there be for giving away my work? Well, there are times when working for free or alternative compensation can actually be a benefit for a creative. Number 1, charity. When a client asks for free or pro bono work for charity, it's usually a worthwhile investment of time and resources. For me, whenever I take on charity work, it comes with a great sense of pride that I'm helping a cause I believe in and working with people who are also donating their skills and their time for the benefit of someone else. There's a reward in doing charity work that goes beyond money, but still, I keep my charity projects to a minimum per year. Number 2, delayed compensation. Some clients need to pitch a project and they need creative work in order to do so, but they just can't afford it. That's when an agreement to receive delayed compensation after the project is approved can be of benefit. Of course, it can be risky if the project isn't approved. But if it looks like a solid opportunity, doing the work with delayed compensation can pay off big when the project is approved and goes forward. And it may even bring potential new work from the same client later or in the future. Number 3, bartering. There are times when a client will say they cannot afford to offer money, but would like to do a barter exchange for services or products. I have done this many times over the years, and it's always worked out great for both myself and the client. Whether it's trading music gear for songwriting, food for restaurant graphics, or a membership to a health club for designing their logo. If the barter is worthwhile and of equal value to what is being created, then it's a win for both parties. But if it seems one-sided, it's best to reconsider the barter. Number 4, personal choice. While creative artists make a living from their craft, many will choose to give away their work at their own discretion. For example, a baker who bakes a cake for his niece's birthday, or a writer who drafts an acceptance speech for her retiring friend, or a musician that performs at their sibling's wedding. As long as it's the creative's personal choice, then giving away the work for free takes on the attraction of gift giving. Number 5, worthwhile exposure. The most common thing clients will offer when they want free work is the exposure it will bring. I've heard this more than any other pitch when someone has asked for free work. Unfortunately, they don't understand that most creatives don't work for exposure, they work for money. I mean, imagine asking your doctor for free surgery in exchange for exposure. It's not limited to small or individual clients or people who simply just don't know better. It's also large corporations who try to keep their expenses down by finding free work and exploiting creatives whenever and wherever they can find them. However, free exposure is just clever bait to get creatives to simply give away their work with nothing in return. To some artists, it's even considered rude or an insult, while others understand the way it works and just politely decline. It's because exposure is nothing more than a lawn sign that potential other clients will drive by and never stop and never look at. I've worked for publications who have given me half-page and even full-page ads in exchange for spot illustrations, yet I've never received a single phone call from those ads. Oftentimes, that exposure can be a big win for the client who the work is given to, but a complete loss for the artist. As I said, it's the most common pitch a client will offer, which too often inexperienced artists buy into. Of course, there are legitimate situations when exposure can pay off for the creative and pay off big. This happens when the client has actual influence to provide valuable exposure for the artist to an audience likely to hire them. For example, a performer singing at a major event where a talent scout may be, or a portrait hanging in an important institution, or even a short video shown on local cable stations promoting community awareness. Exposure of this kind can bring recognition, credibility, and potential clients who may hire us for our craft in the future. So here's a scenario. We're approached by someone about doing a project for free. We assess whether it's in our best interest to take on the work, whether it's for charity, by our own choice, or maybe for the genuine exposure it offers, which we always have to be very careful when considering. If we agree to the terms, then it's off to the races and the work begins. But what if we don't agree and we need to decline? How do we say no in a way that's tactful, respectful, gets the point across, and might get the client to reconsider and actually make an offer that will benefit our interests, whether in payment or with a barter? Personally, I almost never accept work for exposure. I limit my charity work to 1 or 2 small projects per year, and I'm very strict about which projects I'll give away by personal choice. I am, however, likely to exchange work through barter if the return is of equal value to my time and the final work. When I do decline, I always present myself professionally and respectfully, and in a way that might promote the client to reconsider actual payment once they understand my position. My standard response is, while I sincerely appreciate the request for my services, I do not accept non-compensating projects except in rare charitable cases. I'm grateful for the consideration for your project, and if something should change, I'd be happy to revisit and discuss the project in more detail. Thank you again, and best regards. Every time I've ever presented this response, I've always received a respectful note saying they completely understand. Many times, the project scope was revisited within a few weeks, and compensation was offered, keeping both me and the client happy. And as for the projects I've declined, well, they usually go to another artist who is willing to take them on, believing that they'll pay off later. Unfortunately, I learned the hard way myself that those projects usually never paid off at all. At the very start of my career, I used to draw the cover of a local real estate guide and all the spot illustrations inside. They paid me $25 for a cover and $5 for every spot illustration. The guide was distributed on just about every street corner in Boston in one of those little plastic dispensers. I was getting incredible exposure. I did get a couple of very small jobs out of it, which I was grateful for. But when I told my friend Arthur, who worked in a prestigious agency, about the arrangement I had, he got really annoyed. Dude, they're taking advantage of you, he told me. They should be paying you 10 times that just for the cover. And he was absolutely right. I had been thinking in my head that it was worth it just for the exposure. But I wasn't really getting any exposure, and I wasn't making very much money. So, with his words in my mind, I approached the magazine and I told them I needed to renegotiate our arrangement. I had been doing their covers for years, and I felt it was time to increase my pay. When I asked the publisher to pay $100 per cover and $25 per spot illustration, he told me no way, he couldn't do it. I got all the I wish I coulds and it's just not in our budgets, but in the end I had to stand my ground. I ended up giving up that job and walking away from it, and I really enjoyed doing it. At first I kicked myself for giving it up, but it didn't take long before I realized that I was getting actually better paying jobs with less exposure, and in the end was making more money. And that was what I was doing this for. I was doing it to make money, not to get exposure. So it was probably one of the most valuable lessons I ever learned in my career, to appreciate the value of my time, my abilities, and my experience. So now, at the stage I'm at in my career, I know how to set a value on my time and understand the unique value of my abilities. And I respect the years of experience I've put into my career and the quality of work and service I provide. Nowadays, when someone asks me for free work, I have no problem politely declining, imagining in my head that I'm a chef in a fancy French restaurant and a patron has just asked me to prepare their coq au vin for free. That's when I politely say, merci, mais non merci, which I believe is thank you, but no thank you. And speaking of thanks, merci beaucoup to you for coming by today. I hope this was an informative and entertaining video for you. And if you haven't subscribed, please click subscribe and I'd be happy to bring you more content like this. I hope all is well in your world. Thank you again. God bless and thanks for watching. Bonsoir.